What is up, guys? Welcome to the Spoke B Center podcast. Thank you guys for coming out today. We got two special guests because Owen wasn't here last time, but Josh wasn't here last time. But
Hello.
Josh, Owen, Risto, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How
I'm
are
doing
you? Happy
good.
holidays, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy
Let's
holidays,
have
Happy New
a
Year, Happy New Year.
let's
Yeah.
have a good New Year's Eve, and hopefully I don't end up blackout drunk in my bedroom. So
Oh, you know how that's gonna go for me. Of course, I have to. Got to crack open a
yeah, you
Corona. You know
have
what I
to.
mean?
You have to.
We're already getting sponsored by Corona, really?
I wish.
Okay, bro.
But maybe one day. But today we got an awesome episode for you guys. I'm not gonna say I stole these ideas. I'm just gonna give credit for these ideas. Pick a Side podcast. Shout out to them. Riv, Joel, Andrew, John, Joel. Thank you guys for giving me this idea. So we're gonna do blindly ranking Bruins playoff teams. Now this is gonna be kind of tough because there's a couple teams I did fall in love with, even though we lost. But we're just gonna go down the order and down the list. So basically, we're gonna start with the 2010 team. So I'm gonna say that the 2010 team. I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna go five. I'm gonna go five.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I that's a tough one. That 2010 team is very very difficult to assess. In my opinion, that exit was that's probably one of the worst ways I think a team has ever gone out in a season.
In any
But
sport.
yeah, but I don't think it's discussed as much because of what they did the next year. With that said, it compared to most of their playoff seasons, it's quite the failure. We're talking about rosters in like a 14-year stretch, so I'm gonna put them at probably number 11.
11. Okay.
Damn. All right.
Okay. Oh, remember, by the way, guys, we all have to agree on a number after each team. If that wasn't
All right.
clear
All
to
right.
you in the beginning.
All right.
Um, so we got 11. Okay, that's interesting. All right, Risto, what do you think?
Um, I don't know. I I, I like it. Yeah. I'm that's fine.
11.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh, what do you think?
Well, admittedly, it's not like I have great knowledge of the 2010 Bruins roster, but I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to say it's near the bottom based off the teams I do know about. So I'm gonna go in between one of either 10, 11, 12, or 13. One of those.
All right, so we'll put them last at 11. It looks like on the list that we have already in the notes, they're already
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
already at 11. Um,
Okay.
Next time, oh, also for anybody watching, next time we will have graphics ready. We've been trying to figure out what the graphics are going to be for certain things like this. But okay, so we're going to put the 2010 team last. Awesome. I said five
Are
just
we
because
sure we
kind of
want to do
like
that?
yeah, like I mean I said five just simply because like before that series they were playing pretty well. They were playing pretty dominant throughout the year and playing pretty dominant throughout the first couple series.
Yeah.
So it was a tough loss. Like obviously, being down.
There's just better teams. Like there's better years. I think.
But like that Flyers team, like if anybody was built to do that, it was definitely Philly. Like they had a
Yeah.
very, very strong team. They had Hartnell, they had Danny Briere,
Yeah.
they had Reamsdyke, a couple other guys. So
Yeah.
Claude Giroux.
yeah, Claude Giroux, yeah, it was like my favorite player growing up before I really started watching. But
Also, don't forget to mention Simone Gagne, Bruins legend.
yeah, that is true.
Oh
Simone
yeah.
Gagne, he did play for us for a little bit. That is very true.
Yeah, but he
So
scored the game winner in Game 7 that year.
okay, so we're down to put them at 11. That's
Yeah.
basically the
Yeah.
general
Yeah.
consensus.
11. There's
Yep,
third. So
11.
we have 13 total seasons we're looking at.
Okay.
So we would still have two below that.
All right. Not bad.
All right,
All right.
11. So 2010 Bruins go 11th place. All right.
All right. So I'm thinking this one's probably going to be general consensus number one, but 2011,
Yeah.
that's number one. That's number one for me. Do we all agree?
Yeah. By
Number
far.
two for me.
Like irrevocably, like I think it's number one for sure.
I think it's number one because they won the cup, but overall roster wise, I don't know. That 2013 roster seems a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I agree with that. The 2013
I
roster did seem stronger, but
There
like,
are 3 rosters stronger than that 2011 roster.
yes,
But funny hockey is hockey is funny in the way it works. So we're talking
Yeah.
about that 2011 TV Cup champs.
I think
think that
I think the
they weren't the
2011 team
most.
just had a lot of passion, and that's what like
Nope.
that's what got us to win in Vancouver in Game 7.
Nope. Not at all.
No,
The one biggest thing that none of these other teams on the board, except for maybe 2023, is team chemistry. They had the best team chemistry out of all the teams that are on this list, by far. You got to think how many times their backs were against the wall, and you got to think how many times they weren't even expected to even make it that far. We were supposed to lose in the first round, and David Krejci was playing well all year, but he ended up turning it up in the playoffs to a notch that I don't think people really thought he was, but that's because the lines weren't changed. Our fourth line stayed the same. Our third line stayed the same.
yo,
Our
don't
second
forget
line
about
stayed
Tim
the same.
Thomas. Don't forget about
Our
Tim
first line
Thomas.
changed. Yeah, but
And Tim Thomas had the best goaltending performance in NHL
but,
history in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah,
but people
we can all
don't
agree
give
on that.
people don't give the defense enough credit, bro. It was one of the best defenses in the league.
I bet our Canucks fan can agree on that. Though.
Even though
Okay.
but even though the Bruins
Oh, wait.
won that year at the same time, you got to think like Ferentz was a big piece of that team. McQuaid. I think that yes, the forwards were important, but a lot of that was predicated on defense for sure.
Yeah, Adam McQuaid back then was
1,000%.
insane.
I was gonna say in response to Risto, I can 100% agree. 2011 Tim Thomas's run is probably I would put probably a couple Lundqvist seasons ahead if we're counting regular season total mix, but that playoff run's one of the best playoff runs ever.
I can't
It's
even
the
put
best
him ahead.
playoff
He never won.
It's
Yeah.
the best. It's the
And
best playoff run ever from a goalie.
It's the
other
best
than
goalie
maybe,
run we've ever
Best
seen.
playoff run ever from a goalie. Yeah.
there are 2 other goalies there are 2 other performances I can think of that come even close.
Maybe Jonathan Quick.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Quick the next year,
Yeah,
or
that's
Carey Price
arguable.
in 2021.
What
Carey
about
Price
even though he didn't win Jajer's run, Jajer's run in like 2003 apparently was fucking unreal.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
Add that.
But like, but I have something to say. When someone tells you about the 2011 Bruins, you always think of Tim Thomas because that was insane. Like what he did. That's what I think. Every time I hear 2011, I think of Tim Thomas.
I think of Brad Marchand actually.
I
Marchand
personally
too, and Bergeron, but mainly Tim Thomas.
I personally think of Nathan Horton, or I think of honestly, this is one player that people don't realize is really important. I think of Gregory Campbell a lot too.
All right.
Yep.
Gregory Campbell is one of the best fourth line players I've ever seen in my life. He might be the best fourth line player I've ever seen in my life.
All right.
For sure. But okay, so are we skipping the 2012 team? Because I don't think we had that one on the list. I'm pretty sure we said we were going to skip that one.
We should. I think we go over it, but we put 2011 at number 1.
Of course.
We agree on that. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
All right.
2012. That was 2012. Oh, and you have the notes next to it as to who we lost to, right?
Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joel Ward in Game 7 overtime first round.
So where do you guys want to rank this 2012 team? I personally think this 2012 team should go around 8th.
8th.
I like that. I like 8th.
8. I think 8th safe because I
agree on that.
Yeah.
Little less talented. You know what I mean? Just not enough team chemistry, I feel like. So
I feel like the Bruins never have a lot of team chemistry. Like it's always that first line.
Well, that's not necessarily true because they had the same core of guys for like a good.
Well, yeah, but that's what I meant. Like it's always
6-7 years.
That's what I meant by like it's always the first line. Like we've never had chemistry in like lines 2, 3, and 4. It seems like. Yeah, some years, but like in recent years, no.
I don't think that's been the case. I think before Bergeron left, like it was pretty clear for about 10 years that like we were a 4-line team, which is a hard thing to play in the league. to be a foreign-line team and consistently be a foreign-line team throughout the year, and even through the playoffs, and to be able to get to the amount of playoff series we've gotten to while being a four-line team, I don't necessarily agree with this with that personal statement. Like, but I think that like having the chemistry of guys like even before they left, like Krejci, Bergeron, Marchand, just having a core group of guys to always rely on, even in big moments or
Yeah.
even when moments that matter. It doesn't even have to be the biggest of moments. Or during the season, you're on like a couple game skid. Is there a player that you trust or a group of players that you trust to get you out of that? Like that's big in team sports. So I feel like that is something that the Bruins have always had, especially like the past maybe I guess you could say before Bergeron left, like 10 years prior to that, 12 years prior to that.
All right. I like that
Yeah.
opinion.
So, Owen, I guess we can go down the list. You guys have like a specific number? You guys just want to agree on 8, or do you guys have more of an in-depth
I
analysis
think
on
8
why?
is safe.
the 2012 team is pretty forgettable. In consideration of other Bruins playoff teams, which is what we're looking at. There's only one playoff team that comes to mind that I think is more forgettable. Ironically enough, and we'll get to that in a little bit. This was also Tim Thomas's last season as a Bruin. Another good year for him. Marchand was a bit inconsistent this year. Tyler Seguin had his first full season as a Bruin, which is I think they did like one of the more overarching themes of this team.
Right.
If I remember correctly, they won the division. They came in against a decent Washington team. And it came down to one goal in Game 7. In a season where they definitely had a team good enough to contend for at least a deep playoff run. So, but with all that considered, I find it hard to place them over most of the playoff teams we've seen, and that might be recency bias because I am more familiar with how the more modern Bruins teams have played than Julian's 2012 team.
Yeah.
Overall, I think there's easily one playoff team worse than this 2012 team, maybe two or three.
Could I make
Overall,
a bet?
I would go with probably number 9, 9
Okay.
or 10. 9
Yeah,
or 10.
I think around there is safe.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, can I make a best guess as to what the more forgettable playoff team than 2012 is?
So
Yeah,
Which
but
one?
2017.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, good on you.
Yeah,
yes and no.
We'll get to that team in a little bit.
But we'll get to that in a little bit for sure.
Clark MacArthur, Sens legend.
So
All
we're
right.
gonna go. Let's go with 9. I feel like 9's
Yeah.
like
9. All right.
9.
yeah,
So
I
we-
like 9.
So we got the
9
2011
works.
Bruins at 1. We got the 2012 Bruins at 9, and then we got the 2010 Bruins at 11, the last spot. Basically, the
That's solid.
honorable
The
mention.
last spot's 13. The last spot's 13.
Sorry, 13. Excuse me. Okay,
Yep.
you're right. Because we're doing the
Yeah.
13 years instead of. You're right. Okay.
The 13 playoff teams since 2010. Yes.
So 2010 put them dead last to the 13th spot. All right, so that sounds good. I like that. So 2013, me personally, I'm gonna put the 2013 Bruins at number 3.
Says the
Number
one with the
4 for me.
Blackhawks jersey on.
I'm gonna put them at number. Patty Kane's the best American player in history. You can call me all you want. I don't even want to hear anything regarding that. But you know what I'm saying? That 2013
so
team was
depressing, though. That
crazy,
was, like-
bro. That
was one of the most
2013.
heartbreaking losses in the Stanley Cup for the Bruins.
Yeah, it was. But that Blackhawks team was
That
on
Blackhawks
one,
team
bro.
was insane, though.
Like they had Patrick Sharp, Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, Dave Balling,
Did they
fucking
have Hossa
Seabrook,
that year?
Duncan Keith. They had
Hossa?
Marion Hossa.
Yeah.
They had bro. That team was insane. So that's
team was
what
bad.
that loss to me at the time like didn't seem so bad, if that makes sense. Like it was against the team that was honestly like the favorite to win all year, anyways. So
Yeah.
I guess.
They had one of the best starts you can imagine for an NHL team. A regular
and
season
then
wise.
and then you got to think they won at a time where if I'm gonna be real with you, like Jonathan Tays, those 2 years, he was the best hockey player on earth. Even though Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin were amazing, like Jonathan Tays was at one point the best hockey player on earth for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people who like maybe casually watch puck might agree, but if you really watch puck and have watched puck, like Jonathan Tays, 100% was the best two-way player, probably the best player in the league for sure.
It's
So
sad the way he
2013,
retired.
it is, but he's looking to make a comeback, but that's like way off
You
topic.
think?
But
How
anyway,
old is he?
I I don't even know. I just saw today that he is supposedly he's supposedly trying to make a comeback. But yeah, that 2013 team, like very well constructed. You
Yeah.
know, the team that came up short the year before, like they came back with a vengeance, 2013. So
Couldn't
um,
finish.
definitely think they should be third. What do you guys think?
I like third.
Fourth or third for me. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you, Josh?
It's either second or third.
I like I was gonna go second, but there's another team that I'd rather save for the second
There are
spot.
two teams for me. There are two teams for me.
Actually, you're right. There are actually two teams, and there are a
What?
couple. Yes, there are two teams I would put second over that 2013 team. But we're gonna get there. We're almost. We're not. We're like halfway there.
I may be
Um,
biased because the 2013 team, I swear to God, I think I'm trying to I'm trying to remember, but I swear to God, I thought they had Louis Erickson on that team.
No,
14.
God,
not until the
That was
next year.
14.
Yeah, we got him
okay.
that the year after,
It was
which then
taken
now.
I got
Yeah,
net.
It was
I
a
got
mistaken
mixed
trade.
up.
It was after that postseason.
after that, and I don't know why we did that. That was one of the dumbest
That
things
was
this
one of the worst
organization
trades
has
in Bruins
ever done.
history.
Ever done. It's one of the dumbest things we've
Yeah,
ever
that
done.
was.
But okay,
And
so I like that spot.
left three. And Sweeney left three future high end players on the board in 2015. I mean, that's it's insane how bad that trade was.
Yeah.
The Bruins drafting history is almost like the Patriots drafting history. Like they got lucky a couple times. They got lucky a couple times. Like I feel like Bergeron was probably obviously
We
the
got
one you
lucky with
couldn't.
Swayman.
Bergeron wasn't a lucky one. That one was like obvious. Like you take Bergeron there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
What's next?
so 2014. I'm gonna say 2014 team goes
Another.
fifth for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say fifth.
Yep. I
Montreal
agree with
was such a good team when back
They were.
then. They were
If
so
But Boston
good.
should have won that series through and through. They should have won that series. That
Chris
was super
Kreider
winnable.
is a terrorist.
Oh.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
He ruined what could have been Carey Price, the ultimate Carey Price masterclass.
I can understand that because, well, I was telling you guys the other day. I think Carey Price is one of the. He's gonna go down as like one of the most forgotten goalies because he never won.
Yeah.
And it's sad because he was so talented. Like, dude, Carey Price might be like straight talent. Like, I know he's saying Tim Thomas. We've seen the best run from a goalie we've ever seen in playoff history, but I think straight like goalie talent, Carey Price might be the best goalie I've ever seen.
I
Yes.
still could not put him above Lundqvist or Hasek in any situation ever.
Give me Lundqvist. Give me Lundqvist for most
I
skilled
take
goalies of all time.
Lundqvist.
I'd say Hasek's the most talented goalie of all time.
I'd
I'm
say, yeah, I'd put Hasek one. Honestly, at two, I couldn't care if you picked Price or you picked Lundqvist.
I would go Lundqvist.
As far as
Good.
most talented, like they both never won. So like I can kind of like put them in the same boat. They each don't have a cup. And then I'd say third, Tim Thomas, just because like longevity, obviously he didn't have the longevity that these guys did being an elite goaltender.
What
But
about
he did
Patrick
have
Waugh?
the most elite run. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. Patrick Waugh. Like I'm just saying out of straight talent, like ability, like just straight talent, like ability, like
Yeah.
I would like that run we saw from Tim Thomas, like that's top three talent. That is if he did that before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't really sustain that elite level of play for a long time before that. And then after that, I think that was one of the smartest moves we made was getting rid of him and letting Rask take the ship. I think it was time for Rask at the time, and it was time for Thomas to
Yeah.
go. He was what, 30 something at the time when they won?
Yeah.
Also, let's not forget why the Bruins moved on from Thomas the way they did. He didn't show up for training camp.
That too.
Yeah, but why do you think he didn't show up for training camp?
Personal reasons. If I remember correctly, he was living pretty remotely at the time and simply just refused to play, and that then he played the 13-14 season with Florida and Dallas, and then went right back to hiding himself from the planet. So he didn't show up to training camp. The Bruins understood the matters. They suspended him, traded him to the Islanders. His contract
What did we get from them?
his contract expires there, and he goes to FA. He gets picked up by Florida, and that's where it kind of goes.
What did we
I
get
think-
from the Islanders?
Although I didn't know that, I think he also might have had a problem with the front office.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyone
I
would
think-
have a problem with our front
I
office.
think-
What do you mean?
But I think that like I just remember like he was always one of those players that just had a tense relationship with the front office. Like
Also,
I just remember
he
that.
refused to go to the White House in 2012. He refused to go to
yeah.
the White House.
yeah.
And they looked at him, the team, they all obviously they were all supportive of him, but I think like when a guy like that does that and the whole team goes, like yes, they're not going to see him as a free thinker, like whatever the case may be, because it's like broadcasted on national TV, and it's like everybody has their opinion, and you know like how that's going to go. Of course, no one's going to agree on everything, but like I think that like obviously he let his personal beliefs get in the way of like maybe something that like me personally, like if I was a pro athlete, like to be honest with you, I wouldn't go to the White House either. That's just my personal belief. Like I wouldn't go. But if I was the only one not going and my team knew, not really a good look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not. It makes you look like you either aren't involved with and don't have good chemistry with the players, or there's something up with the front office.
Yeah.
So let's move on from that, though. I feel like that might be the case. But and actually, before we move on for that, or anybody else, like I don't know if you guys have a take on that.
2014
you
Bruins.
Christo, you might be too young, but
I probably am.
I don't know. I think going back to the team over the 2014 Bruins overall, that they're kind of the emancipation year when we're talking about Thomas and Rask, where they made that they had Rask for 2013, and then they finally got a true full season with them in 14, and they won the President's Trophy. He was stunning, and Krejci, Bergeron, Marchand, Chara, all their usual suspects were incredible that year. I still remember I was just 9 years old when that team was taken on the ice, and that's still some of the most fun I've had watching hockey. That team was special, or they really could have gone a lot farther than they did. Roster wise, they were built much like the 2011 team. I think they had a little more skill in them. They had a bit more energy in their game between guys like Erickson and Riley Smith, who came over in the Sagan trade. They were good. They were good additions early on. Still outpaced by Sagan and Dallas, but they complemented the freestanding team very well. So took Montreal to Game 7. Lost a pretty close game. Disappointing, but I look at that team compared to most seasons. They still had tremendous success when you factor in the regular season. For me, they are either a top 5 team in this list, or they are just outside, so 5 or 6.
I like
Okay.
6. I like 6.
Six for this team.
I'm gonna have to agree with Six,
All
and
right.
I'm also gonna have to say that I gotta get going. So you guys are gonna
All right.
have to.
All
Oh,
right.
All right,
sorry, Josh. My fault. All right, Josh.
all right. You have a good
It
one,
was good.
guys.
It was good talking with you. We'll talk to you on the next
Thanks
pod.
for
Yeah.
having me on the podcast, and Kiefer Sherwood for heart. Kiefer Sherwood for heart. Kiefer.
Thank you.
Hell no.
Well played, guys. Well played. Well played.
But yeah, so all right, so Owen, if you're still in the notes here, you want to just we'll rewrite the list here. So we
All right.
got
So far, I've been keeping track of this. So far, we have the
what do we
20.
got?
So the 2010 team still at number 11. Keep in mind, all out of 13. If we want to move teams around, we want to move. I know we had some confusion about the 2010 team. We can move them down to last if we want, but I don't think they're last personally.
You want to type it as you go at the bottom?
I have it written down.
Oh,
actually.
awesome.
Yeah, so 2010 teams at 11, 2011 teams
Okay.
at number 1, the 2012 teams at number 9, the 2013 team is at number 3, the 2014 team is at number 6, and now we go to 2017 team. The 2015 and 2016 Bruins both narrowly missed the playoffs. Fun fact: the 2015 Bruins hold the NHL record for most points accumulated by a non-playoff team. They had 96 and missed the playoffs in 2015.
Oh, see, honestly, I don't remember that. But now
That's
that you mention
crazy.
it, I do remember that team was really good, and we still ended up missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 2017.
The East Coast was crazy that year. Those couple years.
All right, so 2017 Bruins.
I think. Can I say my part in this real quick?
Yeah.
So
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
Senators
say, I'm
team
gonna
was.
say 7 for 2017. I'm gonna say 7.
7.
Yes.
Interesting. I don't know if there are a lot of. Well, that would be well. Essentially, what we're saying here is that they're an average level playoff team compared to the other teams we have here. And we still have teams that won the President's Trophy. We had Stanley Cup finalist teams. We had the best team in NHL regular season history on here. I think 7. I'm a little surprised with how high that is.
Yeah.
Like I would have them dead last.
Really?
2017 team. Dead last.
I would
2017
too.
team.
I didn't
They
like that
sneaked into
team.
the playoffs and got bounced by Clark MacArthur in the Sens in 6 games, and they were very unimpressive.
Majority
they
rules.
dealt with mid-season coaching change. Bruce Cassidy got him out of a difficult situation in the wild card hunt. Got him back to a playoff spot that they looked like they could do some damage, but nothing gelled together.
Yeah.
To the
I
point
like
they
that
could
take.
advance.
I like that take. Okay.
But
I
that
can
Senators
say
team. That Senators team was that team was very good, very talented.
they were. That's why, like, I'm like, like dead last. I can understand it considering I'm already thinking of 3 teams in my head I'd put ahead of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but all right, I'll bite the bullet. Yeah. All right, we'll put them last.
Last, all right. So number 2017 goes number 13.
That's also a very forgettable playoff run.
Yeah, that's what me and Josh were talking
Yeah.
about.
All right, Owen, you want to relay the list again? Excuse me.
We can after a couple teams.
Yeah.
All right.
What's
So
next?
20. So we got 2018. We're going by year, Reese, though, so it'll just be year after year.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. And
So
then
2018.
I'll send the list. I'll send the list after.
2018 is not on the notes for me.
Well, I think we switched it up last minute because the list that me
you
and
probably
Owen,
did. You probably did.
the list that me and Owen came up with, is obviously the list that we're presenting right now. But we're
Yeah.
kind of just going on the fly just because
Yeah.
Josh was mixed into the mix. So
Yeah, I gotcha.
Also, I think it made more sense having just every year included.
yeah, it
That
did.
made the same game more.
In hindsight, yeah, it did for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2018 is. Who do we get bounced by?
Tampa, 5 games, second round.
Oh, it was That's when we killed them in game 1, right?
I put them
Yep.
12.
I'll put them
12?
12 too.
Yeah. We had no shot. Tampa Bay
Yeah,
was
number
just gonna
12.
win.
Yeah,
That
I,
season, yeah,
Tampa
something
when
about
when Tampa was in the playoffs for those years, that was a dynasty team.
yeah, no one had a shot in the East. It was just them.
Stamkos and Kucherov and Vasilevsky were just unstoppable.
Yeah, they had Cooch, they had Point, Vasilevsky,
Point two, yeah.
Stamkos, Callahan,
I remember Yanni Gord being
Hedman,
insane.
Yanni Gord. Yeah, like
Yeah,
They had Sergachev. Like that team was stupid. That team was unreal.
you
Like,
couldn't
yeah,
stop
I
them.
can't
That's
even put
why
the 28 team higher than like 12,
I
maybe
like that.
11, but like definitely 12.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're number 12 for me.
Just no, not I like I just there's no world where I saw us beating Tampa that year.
That season is a blur to me, but
Yeah, a
I,
1000%.
look-
Like
look-
that season is
looking back,
100% the one I've forgotten about the most.
by far.
that was the year. But let's not forget that's the 2018 team is the team that gave Bruins fans hope again because the
Hmm.
last the 3 seasons previously were very uninspiring overall.
No,
Even
you're right.
even
Yeah,
2017. But that 2018 team that legitimately brought back the belief that team could contend for the cup very soon. And when we get to next season, 2019 season, they did they
I have an
that's gonna be tough
interesting
for the
take on
contract.
2019 if I can share it right now.
Okay, so with that being said, right? So we're shifting to the 2019 team. The 2019 team for me goes second
Mm,
for sure.
Yes.
yes.
Number two, they're number two, and the reason why they're number two, before you get to your point, Risto, I
Yeah.
say they're the number two. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I've been saying this for years. If we didn't get robbed and all this other shit didn't happen, and like also COVID, like that year, also being part of that beginning of the next following season, um, yeah, we got robbed. That like we got robbed, and like I don't think that it was kind of it was kind of clear we got robbed, and I think that team would have won. And it breaks my heart that we didn't win that year. Like it really, every time I talk about the team, I'm just like, I get a tiny bit emotional because that was like a big year for me in my life. And the Bruins, like watching the Bruins that year, seeing how well they played, like it carried me through a lot of shit like those Bruins games. So yeah,
Yeah.
that 2019 team is a little bit more of a sentimental thing than it is like maybe I might be a little bit biased due to that, but I would have to put the 2019 team second to the 2011 team for sure.
Yeah. Can I say my point?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
So this is like a little opinion because 2019 the Tampa Bay was obviously still that dynasty team. I think if Columbus never beat them and Tampa advanced, we would have gotten out second round.
I
Oh,
agree.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's also
Remember,
another
guys,
reason why.
remember that Tampa team tied the record for most wins at the time for a team in a regular season. They
Yeah.
had 62 that year.
So that season was a little bit of luck, but
Nah, but we had a squad,
we did have
bro.
a squad. Our
We
bottom
had a
six
Guys, well,
lines
squad,
were
yeah,
bro.
insane.
We had a
let's think of
squad, bro.
let's
Yeah.
remember here, really, that 2019 season, that really could have been that was almost the perfect season of hockey.
Yeah.
We're exciting team, great coach, one the best first line in hockey. Bergeron Pastrnak dominated 5v5 in power play the full season. Um, they 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 got Jake DeBrus to come around in his second season. Despite early struggles, David Krejci was doing David Krejci things. Tuukka Rask, as usual. Chara, as usual. Charlie McAvoy. This is the year where we can really say that we understood what he was going to bring to the Bruins very soon. They that was the year Carlo. We had guys like Carlo and Grishlik round out and what eventually became like the modern Bruins core for a couple seasons. And then the team on a composite level. 49 win season. They won a game in the Winter Classic. And that's always teams that play Winter Classics that's always something you can cherish. Not many go as far.
Yeah.
Like today the Winter Classic today we got the Blues and the Blackhawks. They're both one's a French playoff team, the one's a surefire non-playoff team. And the Bruins team that year gave us a thriller. We saw that beautiful back check from Bergeron that led to the goal, and then Sean
Yep.
Corrali. By the way, Sean Corrali, that's another very special name for Bruins fans.
Uh huh.
Would you say
He's
Nola
played in
Chari is
there.
a special name?
At the
Chari
time.
too.
at the
That
time.
fourth line, and remember, that fourth line was just as good as the Campbell line in 2010, 2013.
Yep, for sure.
It was Nordstrom, Corrali, and Achari. Incredible. They were
Nordstrom,
outscoring
wow.
the first line in the finals at one point, which was just
Yep.
insane. But yeah, it came down to one game on home ice, and
We blew it.
Jordan Bennington stood on his head.
I remember in the first period, we were absolutely dominating them. We had that puck in their zone for the most of the period, and they just got 2 breakaways that just put us away.
Never
Yep,
forget
and
the
it was
Brad
unfortunate.
Marchand line change.
It
Yep.
was probably one of the worst games I've ever watched.
Yep, unfortunately. And
Unfortunately.
It really
that's what's
stung.
going to lead us to the next year, 2020. I think we all know how this year goes. So
That
I'm
was. Wait,
gonna put
that's.
these guys.
2019 goes number 2 here. 2019 goes number 2 in the
Yeah.
ring.
Okay.
It
I
does.
like it. Yeah.
It does.
So 2020,
1,000%.
we lost to Tampa again in the second round, correct?
5 games, yep. And it was the same.
Yep.
It was basically 2018 part 2. Dominated game 1, then got cooked 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
So Owen, you want to go down the numbers that are already taken?
Yeah. So 2011 is number 1. 2019 number 2. 2013 number 3. We do not have a number 4. We do not have a number 5. 2014 is 6. No number 7. No number 8. 2012 number 9. No number 10. 2010 is 11. 2018 is 12. 2017 is 13.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so 2020, where are we gonna put them?
Wait, there's a 7 spot?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, 7.
7.
Yeah.
Around 7, because you said 7 and 8, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
have
that
most of it.
year-
We have here. I'll just give us the numbers instead of the full ranking. So we are missing
Yeah.
number 4. We are missing number 5. We are missing number 7. Number 8 is missing. Number 10 is missing as well.
All right, yeah, put them at 7.
7.
I'd even say maybe 8. Now that I'm thinking of the other years.
It's arguable between 7 and 8.
Yeah, I'd say 8. Honestly, now that I'm actually really thinking about it,
Yeah, I'd go 8 too.
I might go 8.
I already have someone for my 10 spot, and I think you know which one that'll be.
For the 10 spot, yeah, that's not that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's next
that
year.
one is not hard. Wait, are we talking about? Wait, what is the year we lost to the Blues?
That was
2019.
19.
Yeah, okay, we already have them at 2. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
10, I think is next year, basically.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, next year is 10th.
That was the most embarrassing thing I've ever watched.
2021 is 10th.
Yes.
For sure.
Where's 2020?
That Islander,
Where's 2020?
that was
2020 is 8th, right? Did we
8th?
agree on 8?
Yeah. We can do 8. Yeah, that's fair.
I think 8's good.
Well, we're gonna start having to consider last season. I don't know how high we should really have last season's team.
2019 when we got robbed by the Blues.
Was number 2. And then 2024. Remember, that's coming up soon, and we don't have a lot of the bottom half spots left.
I'd put
This is the list, though. We can't break the list and change it around. Once we're at this point, though, this is how the list.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So we put
know
them
that-
10th.
yeah.
So I think if we're really gonna put them 10th, we should put 2020 10th then.
2020 10th. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I can get behind that.
I could get behind that too. I rock with that.
I think they're better than some of the teams. They're a lot better than some of the teams coming up because they're President's Trophy winner. They still had top 3 roster in the league. They ran into Tampa Bay, who won the cup. So I would have them. I'd have them 7th, probably most likely.
Okay,
8th,
we could do 7.
and we lost Ristos.
Where'd he go? Don't tell me his phone died.
Nice.
Well, okay. It's fine. When he comes back, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. He's
So number 8.
There you
So number 10 though.
Bro, I just got kicked. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
That's why I'm on D&D. I'm on D&D for this reason.
Yeah, so am I. Are we? So what year are we on right now?
2021.
That's
Yeah,
10,
if we
right?
agree that 2020 is 10.
Yeah, for sure.
All
Okay.
right, perfect.
And then what are we gonna put 2021 around like 8?
8, yeah.
It's the
8.
2021. We lost to the Islanders.
I
The
feel
second
like
round.
2021 and 2022, I feel like, or no, 2021 and 2023, I feel like are interchangeable at 7 and 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Like whichever
Yeah.
ones we wanted to put in those two spots, like I feel like we could put either one in those spots.
Mm-hmm.
I would do for 2021. I'd do number 7.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
think
I agree
2023
too.
can go 8.
Wait, 2023? What about 2022?
Isn't that the year we broke the record for most points in a season?
3 was the year break. Was the broken record
That
year.
was 2023,
Okay.
right?
So
So
22.
my brain works like the start of the season instead of the year ending, if that makes sense. So you're right.
Yeah,
It
well,
would be
the year ending makes sense for playoff when you're talking about playoffs because that's when
it
the
would be 2022, right? Then that we lost to the Panthers.
No,
we
2022 was
2022
Carolina.
was the seven game loss to Carolina in round 1.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, okay. I'm okay with that team being 7th.
All right. Wait,
Because
so 2021 is 8th, and then 2022 is 7.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's perfect.
Because then the year we lost to the Panthers is definitely 3rd, right? That's what we put it. That 3 is still open.
For regular
It
season,
would be
yeah.
4. It'd be 4.
Okay, then
And
I'm
then
fine with
2024
4.
is 5. 2024 is 5.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, honestly.
All right, so here we
Because we
go.
overachieved.
I'm gonna give you guys the full ranking.
Give us the list.
All right, number 1. All right. Okay. Well, I'm actually gonna have to change formatting real quick. All right. Wait, why does it go straight to? It's. You know what? That's so unfortunate. So I'll just type it in order. It's 2011.
Okay.
I'll go back up. 2011. Number 2. 2019. Number 3. 2013. Number 4. 2023. Number 5. 2024. Number 6. 2014. So that okay, I don't know. 2021. No, that was 8th. I miswrote. There we go.
All right.
And then let's see. So we got. I keep losing track of counting. 2012 is number 9. 2020 is 10. 11 is 2010. 12 is 2018, and then to round out the list, 2017. Here we go.
What a list, bro. Okay.
That's
I
a good
think this
list.
is, I honestly think, based on everyone's combined knowledge, like, I think this is a great list for blindly
Yeah.
ranking. Like, just blindly ranking the teams, even though we kind of, like, obviously, one person, so the way they do it on Pick a Side is one person's supposed to have all the rankings. Rib is normally the one that does it.
Yeah.
And if you guys ever watch their podcast, which you guys should, um, he'll do it like that, and nobody else really knows like the teams or like what it's from. So he'll say it, and then he'll have them rank it, and then he'll agree after. So I feel like the way we did it, constructed this way with doing it on the fly, was kind of similar
Yeah.
to kind of doing it that way. So I'm actually glad you asked us to do it 13 years instead of just the
Yep.
regular 10 we already had.
Yeah. That allows us to think a little bit more, and that was kind of the fun in looking at this Chiefs. We sped it up a little quick so we can get to our next session though.
Yep. All right. So here we go, guys. We got Would You Rather, because we did this last episode. Would you rather Charlie McAvoy edition? That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and we doing Charlie or are we doing Would You Rather
Charlie.
Austin Matthews edition? Because that was kind of spicy.
Right, we gotta do McAvoy. We gotta do McAvoy. I have something to show you guys. I have something to show the pod.
All right, guys. So pod, this is gonna be new to the pod, and we're gonna get a little bit of a graphic background done for Owen so he could do this. But Owen has made these player cards himself. He's done an excellent job explaining to me and everybody else in our group chat about how the analytics work and how his card works. So Owen, when we use this card, each time we do a name, right? I want you to explain why you picked this player or McAvoy over that player based on the cards, and give us one or two stats that kind of will explain that. So before we do that, we'll do the round table, and then you'll do the explanation if that makes sense.
All right.
All right. So first name up, Owen. What is it?
All right. Adam Fox is our
Give me Charlie Mack. I don't even got to think about that
I'm
one.
going McAvoy.
Fox.
Ah, okay. This is where it gets interesting. Owen, with the player card, why would you take Fox over McAvoy?
Again, I love my 3-year samples. I love my 3-year samples. Let's show the boys that are Adam Fox this year. This year's just been he's been injured quite a bit this season, and the Rangers have been terrible. But you look at years past, this is a defenseman that's pretty similarly involved offensively. 5v5 comparison to McAvoy. In past seasons anyway. Here's the goal. So this is goal involved. This is a shooting involvement, which just tracks. It's essentially just the amount of each of these metrics the player accumulates divided by the number the team does when this player is on the ice. So
Can you zoom in or
and
no?
then this is percentile. This is a percentile, not the raw percentage total, which I think if you on my cards, if you hover over the metric name, you get a little explanation. And this is the note. But
that's
I digress.
sick, bro.
So this is a high level offensive contributor. Individually, drives a lot of offense for Team 5v5 in 2024. He had marginally better impacts than McAvoy this year. And then power play. The power play is really important for separating when we're talking about defensemen of this caliber, because defensemen have a lot more responsibility on the power play than they used to. Modern power play system. To have a good one, I think a lot of teams, it's basically a necessity to have a top end, a high end defenseman running the power play from the blue line, and you can see his production in situations that are not 5v5 are very high, and as we know, Adam Fox is the number one defenseman for the Rangers. He gets the most power play time, so and then a lot of these points are 5v5 points. Accumulated 773 total last season. And then this season is really hard to evaluate because of injuries and the Rangers doing Rangers things. But yeah, really great impacts in the sample so far. And looking at he's marginally better than McAvoy. The debate is in my opinion, a lot closer than most people will suggest. But unless you're talking about this year alone, I think for me it's safe to say Adam Fox.
So based on his player card, and then if you want to switch to McAvoy's card, with everything that you just explained, like if you want to explain how Adam Fox probably is maybe a better all-around player than McAvoy might be, since they're two all-around defensemen, they're both two-way defensemen. So how would these two cards stack up against each other for someone who might not get how the numbers look or anything looks, but maybe in a way that everyone can understand that's viewing it, how both of these cards compare to each other and why you would take Fox over McAvoy?
All right. Yeah. So, aside from the more blue argument, that's going to hold some slight merit anyway, because a player that's pushing 80s, 90s percentiles in these metrics, and these are important metrics. these are these three categories are what make up shooting in any situation, for whether it's the player themselves, it's the team when they're on the ice, or offensively and defensively. So overall, we were talking about two top five defensemen that are excellent in all zones, that contribute a lot of individual offense through their but Fox is more through, as you see here, when we looked at Fox a bit ago, um, Mac, McAvoy's average shot quality um, is a bit higher, and then you look at Fox, um, where shot rate is a little higher, but over like the last couple seasons, and so, but overall these players contribute. Well, when you look at
So as far
McAvoy,
as I guess to narrow it down a little bit, as far as offensively where they stack up together, like who would you rather take? Obviously, looking at the graphics, the top half.
yeah, so I would take Adam Fox, and this is a new. I'm building the player comparison tool, which building the player comparison tool, which will make this whole process a bit easier. Um, let's take a look at last season's, where we have a bit heftier of a sample, something a little more stable. And we are talking about a player that whose chances are not only frequent off his stick, but they are on average more potent off his stick. That's going to generate more direct value, and that culminates in a more valuable offensive player overall, individually, and the team benefits quite well from it. And the one thing you'll notice is his on ice offense is less impressive than the individual impacts. That could be a line mates thing. I haven't done enough investigation into that. Defensively, still quite solid. McAvoy, for me, I take McAvoy on the defensive side of the puck more than Adam Fox. But anywhere else, Adam Fox is the guy to pick um for anything offensively related. Their zone exits are also fairly similar in nature, in terms of their ability.
That was a beautiful explanation, bro. Like that was awesome. But just before we go to the next person, so I don't know if you want to explain like the four different quadrants, even though it's split up into halves. Like, if you want to just explain to people really quickly, since it's the first time we're going to use the player cards, but now for the future, everyone watching, these are the player cards we're going to use. So if you would like to explain, just like pick one stat maybe from each four quadrants and kind of go from there and kind of explain how they explain how it works overall for the rest of it and what each quadrant represents.
Yeah, and that's gonna be I'm gonna have a full-fledged video explaining all this.
Okay, you want to save it for that? You're going to explain it on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All you really need to know is that for each of these quadrants, for these three, there are three quadrants there's three shooting categories, and
Hmm.
then at the bottom you have your goals and expected goals, and then some other information, such as the goal impact, which is calculation, a special calculation I use for estimating the exact impact the exact goal value a player provides to their team individually. And then you have line mate goal induction, which is another nice bit of info. That this is all stuff that all concepts that I would like to explain at a later time. All you need to know, these for each situation is fair. For each situation, you have the three shooting categories. Then you have goals and XG. For defense, that becomes against, and for goals against, and then expected goals against, instead of for individuals ones only taken by the player, not the player and their team. That's on ice offense, and then on ice shooting involvement, as I explained earlier, is just the overall involvement a player has in each of these four metrics, whether it is shot Fenwick, which is just unblocked shot attempts, how involved they are in creating those shots, creating expected goals, which is quality and quantity, goal factor, which is how often that they score or assist on a goal that's scored on the ice, and then goal scoring is just how often they score, or just it's how often it's how often they score relative to their opponents as well, or not to their opponents, excuse me, their teammates. And the percentiles are all position relative. This is all compared to the other defensemen in the league. So that luckily that saves us from the headache of having to assess two different positions that work in fundamentally different ways.
Awesome, bro. Beautiful explanation. So for those viewing, Owen's going to be bringing these player cards to every single Would You Rather every single week. It is going to be in the Would You Rathers. We might have certain segments where it requires us to talk about non-Bruin stuff. So I don't know. Let us know in the comments whether you guys liked the player cards or not. We're going to have full graphics for the player cards. But so to continue on with the list, from here, we're going to go just pick one stat that will define who's better than who, whether it's an overall stat or whether you take one player on one side of the ice, whatever the case may be. So, what's the next name we got on the list?
Evan Bouchard.
Oh. Give me Charlie Mac. And that's on both sides. I know how good Bouchard is offensively, but that's on both sides. I'll take McAvoy due to size.
Yeah.
That's really the only reason why I'd probably pick McAvoy over Bouchard is due to size and defensively.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Owen, if you want to pull up a card, if you got something on the card for this one, what do you think? Bouchard or McAvoy?
That's a tough one. That's actually a lot closer. I think it's easy for people are gonna getting caught into traps. They're gonna get caught into traps of picking McAvoy on kind of these very basic qualities like his size or his physicality. But when we're talking about a player that is better than the other, we have to we truly have to understand what they provide at an overall level, because the metrics that are shown here, that they are the accumulation of the many that on the ice, what happens at a consistent level, game in, game out, the culmination of players' actions and their teammates' actions, their opponents' actions, and that's why I think when you look at quality alone, it's not just the quality they have; it's how they employ that. And now I want to bring that over to the player cards.
Yeah, give us the next one real quick.
Excuse me.
Yeah, give us the next one real quick.
All right. I didn't hear that, so I was. But yeah, so Bouchard's probably the best change creator in the league for a defenseman right now. Him or Quinn Hughes. His defensive play is his defensive inadequacies are a bit understated, or a bit overstated, rather. His impacts are quite good. My problems with Bouchard are his puck management in these defensive zones been a concern at times, for me personally, and
Okay.
And then with his just general I think his ability to play his defensive execution is not at the level of McAvoy's. And and if you look at this on ice defense category here, this is very the poor on ice goaltending. That's a problem with the Edmonton Oilers. Their goaltending is a lot weaker compared to most elite teams. But the shot quality sector, so 24th percentile compared to defensemen, which means that he's that the Oilers, when Bouchard's on the ice, the Oilers are a lot weaker in terms of suppressing the average danger of qualities on the of shots on the ice. And I can attribute that to a lot of players with good defensive impacts If they manage the puck poorly, they're going to give up the average quality of chances they give up is going to be higher. So
Right.
that can explain that will account for some of the discrepancy in goals against and expected goals against, which you notice at the bottom one expected goals against is a lot better, which indicates that the overall defensive ability or the overall defensive impact is quite solid. But this is a result primarily of goaltending, but poor puck management also impacts this, which impacts this in simplest terms. This is all kind of a science that I find a little difficult to explain. That's the best way I can really provide that at the moment. But anyway, let's relate this to Charlie McAvoy. I think it's safe to say defensively McAvoy is higher quality, but at the end of the day, that him or Quinn Hughes is those are the two defensemen you look at for best individual chance contributor, offensive contributor among defensemen. Insanely strong on ice numbers as well. Compounds the high end talent Edmonton has already extremely well, and then top power play guy as well. That's and at the composite level that leads me to say Evan Bouchard is. I would take Evan Bouchard over Charlie McAvoy for that reason. That being said, that's a pretty recent theme. If you asked me this even last season, I'd probably choose McAvoy with minimum hesitation. But Bouchard has maintained a very high level quality of play in the last 2 seasons, and I don't think I think whatever hate he gets is overstated.
Due to his size, probably, and that's like can't control that.
Yes,
You know.
and that's why when you and Hurisos took McAvoy for size alone, I disagreed quite heavily with that because of kind of what I've explained here with the defensive. His defensive problems are not really size are not really size related. People will send clips of him getting beat in certain situations, and people like to jump on that quick, but that every defenseman's going to come across that. We saw how bad McAvoy was at times in the playoffs last year, and that was a narrative that was surrounding McAvoy last year in the playoffs in the Bruins sphere. And that's Evan Bouchard's has just happened to reach the more national stage, in my opinion.
Okay, I like that. I do like that. You gave an in-depth explanation to explain the difference between the two. A lot of people don't, with stuff like that. A lot of people don't understand how that works. But I do think you swap the two. McAvoy brings more to that Oilers team than Bouchard would bring to this Bruins team. I feel like I do truly believe that.
If McAvoy's power play improved, he would be above Bouchard without a doubt.
If McAvoy was playing with Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and McDavid, I'm pretty sure it would look a lot similar.
Counterpoint: he had Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak. Obviously, that's not Draisaitl and McDavid, but
nowhere near that.
That Bruins power play was on the level of the Oilers one for a while, and now they are among league worst. And that's a lot on McAvoy, as much as it is Pastrnak. And it's actually
Marchand is also 36.
Yeah, and then it's also a coaching issue, which even then is still on McAvoy because top defensemen like Bouchard find a way to produce in worse coaching environments on at least the special teams wise. That's a tough conversation to have. I think that's outside of the scope of this overall debate.
For sure, 1,000%. Christo, what do you think, my guy? Do you think that you switch Bouchard and McAvoy? Like, what do both teams look like, or like, what does one team look like to you, and why?
Well, honestly, I like his point on the power play about like how more effective Bouchard is, but like it's also his line mates. For some reason, I really like McAvoy because he brings you that big bad Bruin type of vibe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, I still would go McAvoy, to be honest. Not trying to be biased at all, but like I've always liked McAvoy. But for this, I'd go McAvoy. Yeah.
I think McAvoy has been extremely underrated a lot of these years.
Yeah.
And I think that like the fact that he hasn't been in the Norris conversation for some of these years rubs me the wrong way. I think that's because like the dynasty of the Bruins and how dominant the Bruins have been for a long time, always making the playoffs, kind of always having some sort of success. Like like even though we are probably the most loved team across the league, we also might be the most hated team across the league.
I think we mainly are the most hated.
We might be both, and that's the same thing with like if you think about like the Cowboys, right? Like the
We are the
a
Cowboys of the
long
NHL.
yeah, low key, yes, and I hate to admit that shit, but because I fucking hate the Cowboys, I hate Jerry Jones, I hate everything about the Cowboys except for C.D. Lamb. C.D.
Yeah.
Lamb's cool. I love C.D. Lamb. He's awesome, and Micah Parsons. But that's
CD Lamb
beyond.
is the David Pastrnak of the Bruins.
Yeah, C.D. Lamb. Nah, that's more Micah Parsons. But well,
Okay, fair.
that's another conversation to digress. But you are right. We are the Cowboys of the NHL, just a team who like is oh, it's their year, it's their year, it's their year. We've been hearing that since 2011. It's our year. We've been
Yeah.
hearing that since 2011. And not only have we been hearing it's our year since 2011, we've also been hearing this team can make it, this ownership and this and front office and yada yada yada. And I just think that like McAvoy should end up getting a Norris before he leaves his prime.
Yeah.
It would be kind of upsetting to me if McAvoy didn't even get considered as a top two finalist one of these years. And it's
I like
sad
that.
because he McAvoy brings so much to the table as far as I think the most underrated part of his game, which is the best part of his game, is his skating ability. Like his skating ability for his size and what he's able to do offensively and defensively, block shots, whether it's edging to block shots or whether it's edging to beat guys around the net and in the defensive zone, or whether it's skating to drive the net. He's got his stick handling and skating ability is very underrated. I know it's not flashy. He's not like Quinn Hughes. He's not like Cale Makar, but he has the same talent and ability. It just doesn't look as good with 10 million moves.
Yeah.
Like so like I think that like McAvoy, if he's dumbed his game down enough to the point to do that, where I feel like if McAvoy was able to play more freely offensively like Bouchard is, like I think we'd be having a different conversation due to team play style and due to how the teams are constructed. So I do agree that like Bouchard offensively, I don't think it like right now at this moment in time, I don't think it's a question. But I think in years past before this year,
Yeah.
McAvoy has not gotten the credit he's deserved. And I feel like this year, yeah, because the team skidded, we had to fire our coach. Everything's been going well since Sacco, so there's a bunch of other distractions everybody else is worried about. I just feel like McAvoy should definitely. That's why I'm glad we did this Would You Rather and came up with this idea because McAvoy is legitimately might be the most underrated defenseman in the league.
I like that.
He might be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he could be up there. I wouldn't.
all right. Next
I
name on the
wouldn't-
list. We gotta fly through this list low key.
All right, this is the last one I'll be doing before I head off for the night. So,
All right, we'll make this the last one.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Matt Heiskanen.
Oh fuck, this is.
Me personally, I really like
McAvoy.
Heiskanen. I'd probably go Heiskanen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love McAvoy, but I might have to go Heiskanen too.
Heiskanen. All right.
Yeah, I might have to go Heiskanen. So Owen, to lead us out, you want to give us a quick explanation, real quick, as to why you would take
Quick.
Heiskanen over McAvoy?
Please.
Give us one glaring stat that's the difference between the both.
On my player cards, they're
Mhm.
not that prevalent. McAvoy's just a little stronger in most areas. But in terms of the microstat field and and kind of the more molecular areas. I think I think they're about as even as it gets. Actually, I give a very slight edge to McAvoy. But they're pretty much next to each other on any like top 5, top 10 defenseman list.
Yeah.
How big is Heiskanen? He's like 6'1", 6'2", right?
Hold
He is
on, I got
inside,
you.
too. That's not really an important part of his game, though.
That is true, but I feel like McAvoy's also like 6'4", bro.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's like
Heiskanen 6'1".
yeah. So like I might take Charlie Mack due to size, but I feel like in terms of just overall skill, it's like even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on both ends. It's even. But
All right.
so
Do you think
Heiskanen over
McAvoy
Mack.
could play good on that Dallas team? Do you think he'd be like a solidified top 5 defenseman on that Dallas team?
The thing is, you could put McAvoy anywhere, and he'd be the top one.
Yeah.
Like you could put him with Cale Makar, he'd have to be on the first pairing with Cale Makar.
He
You
could,
put him on
yeah.
a pairing. You
Yeah.
could put him on a pairing with Hughes. It would be the most unstoppable pairing in history. You put him on a pairing with Bouchard, unstoppable. You got one guy who's more focused on defense, who just so happens to be just as skilled offensively as these guys, aka McAvoy. Even though offense doesn't come first for him, if he's solely focused on offense a little bit more, I think a lot of these guys would be below him.
Yeah.
Because we've seen what he can do with and without the puck offensively. He's got a one-timer. He's got a wrist shot. He's got a snap. He can
He's got
skate.
everything.
He can skate his way into any area. He can skate around the net. He can play like a forward 5v5 in the zone. You know? So, but with that being said, awesome episode 2, guys. Can't wait to drop this one.
Yep.
Sorry
for cutting it short, but it is getting a little late here. New Year's Eve.
No, I'm imagining it's like
spend some
1:11
time with
New
the boys,
Year's
you know.
Eve. Happy New Year's Eve, boys.
Yeah,
Wait,
you
what,
too.
before we get off,
You too.
what are you guys doing? Are we getting back into Discord or what are we doing?
I'm headed
Probably
off in a minute.
Discord.
You want to go back in
You won't
Discord,
see me
Risto?
the rest of the
Yeah,
time.
probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back in Discord because I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying my
I
ass
bet.
at home.
Unless you guys are on super late, I won't see you guys tonight.
Yeah,
All
Owen,
well, Happy New Year's,
I'll be
everyone.
up late.
Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Goodbye, all.